Alright guys, we're out on some private property here in Giles County, Tennessee, and done a little hunting. This is actually opening day of archery. We hunted this morning and come out, and we've already had a few food plots planted around, and we're going to plant one right now for late season. I've got Tabitha here with me, and she's kind of our local expert on the matter. So what are we going to do here today, Tabitha?
Well, what we've done is we've prepared this plot by, we've come in and bush hogged it down low, and so that's going to leave a lot of duff or litter on the ground, which makes it hard for a disc to move through. And so in order to make the groundwork up a little easier and a little faster, we're going to go in here and burn that off. But one thing you have to remember, before you start burning anything, that in Tennessee, you have to get a burn permit between October 15th and May 15th. And before you burn anything, please make sure you consult somebody that knows what they're doing.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's not that difficult, but there are a lot of tips and tricks that you need to know to make it safe and to make it productive. So we're going to go out here and light a drip torch. That's my burn can. That'll start my fire, and we'll just see how it goes. Unfortunately, we didn't have. Optimally, you'd want to spray it while it's green so it can burn down and die. For it to burn, we didn't have an opportunity to do that. It got dry and everything was drying up, but then we got about 8 inches of rain, so now everything's greened up a little bit. But there's still a lot of dead matter on it. It's nice, low humidity day. It's dry, so we're going to try it and see what happens. It might be a little smoky, but we should see some sort of result, and it should help out for when we start disking a little bit.
So once we get this burnt, we're going to disc it up. And what kind of seed are you planning on putting in this plot here?
Yeah, what we typically do on our place is we make our own mix.
Yeah.
We don't necessarily buy a mix because we want to put things out that we know that's going to grow. Typically, it's a lot cheaper than buying a mix. So we'll typically put out wheat and oats. We don't have oats this year, but we do have wheat. We'll throw in some turnips, red and white clover, and we've got a little rape this year too, and some Austrian winter peas. So we've got a little bit of everything going in there, and we'll get around to that a little bit later, but we'll get the ground prepared and ready for that.
Yeah.
That sounds like
benefits on this, like this is going to actually be, it'll be more producing like in the winter time, right?
Yes, this is a cool season planting.
Yeah.
So it's going to be green all winter. And then your warm season planting should go in next spring and plant like your Milos or any corn or anything like that.
So when the food starts getting a little scarce for the deer come wintertime, fall, when it's harsh, it's going to benefit them a little bit, right?
It can benefit them. It's a draw for deer. Deer will make it through the winter.
Yep.
I mean, sometimes it's a little more scarce than others.
Yeah.
But a food plot typically is kind of like a buffet. They've got somewhere nice to come, and it makes them a little easier to see sometimes instead of just hanging out in the woods. So it's a good green spot, and it does draw them quite a bit.
It's great to hunt over too.
Yes, and that's what I mean when I'm talking about a draw.
All right, guys, what we got here, this is what we call an exclusionary fence. And Dr. Callum, I believe you made this, didn't you?
Yes.
Come on up here. So, Callum, can you tell us what this contraption does here? We're getting ready to use this in the field here after a while.
Well, we'll set it out in the field after we plant, and the grass will grow, and the deer will eat the grass.
Yep.
But we set this in the field, and the grass will grow inside this cage without the deer eating on it.
Yep.
So we know how much the deer are eating.
Yep. So that'll give you guys, and this is real simple. You can build this out of like chicken wire and rebar, and we put these in every one of the fields out here, and it will give you a great idea of how much deer activity is in your field. You can also use trail cameras and stuff, but if you don't have trail cameras or something, like once this field gets to growing, it's amazing down here. Like you'll have your food plot in here, it'll be 10 inches tall, and everywhere else it's 2 inches. So it's going to give you a good idea how much activity is in your field. So,
and the other thing about it is, if you come out and you see your field and it looks like it's not taking off like you think it should, it could be the deer. And putting this out there will show you what the crop is doing inside where nothing can get to it, and you'll know that you actually did a good job. It's actually growing. It's just the deer are keeping it mowed down. So.
Yeah, because there's a lot of times it looks like it's just in the dirt, and you think it's not growing very well, but in this little square, it's lush.
Yep,
so,
that's right.
So we would recommend building you one of these, putting it out there, and see how your plot's doing. We got AKA Joe Dirt, AKA Little Dan, AKA Billy Ray Cyrus, AKA Mullet. Getting her done.
Disking up the edge for a little bit of a fire break. We're going to try to burn it. Do a little fire break on both sides and we'll see what happens with it.
I've started a little fire to get a little black on this end. We didn't put in a fire break here. You can see we've got 2 fire breaks, one on each side. Things are still fairly green, so we didn't really put a fire break on this end. But what we're going to do is we're going to put it out on the back side of the black, head down the field, and that way if the wind shifts or blows hard from the direction it's been coming and it were to come back this way, it would hit the black and go out. And then go ahead and work your way across. I don't know if they can see it or not, but we do have water in the back of that mule. We've got a water tank and a sprayer. And for putting out the fire, Billy's got a shovel for little stuff, or you can put dirt on it if it's got a spot that's going where it's not supposed to, or you can just lay the shovel on it and it'll suppress the fire, take the oxygen away and put it out. There's no wind right now, is there?
No.
And we're burning into the wind so that it doesn't create a rip-roaring fire. When you put fire into the wind, it pushes it. So we don't want a push fire. But this is pretty low, so it's not that.
That
big.
a little bit after.
Yep. So we finished up our burn here. It went off really well. We had good ceiling height to get the smoke up and away, because you are responsible for where your smoke goes if you smoke out your neighbors or any livestock or anything. That's just something to keep in mind. Something else I wanted to touch on that I should have in the beginning is my drip torch over here, as you can see it, is a tool to get the fire started. And it is a mixture of diesel and gas. Please do not put all gas in a can and try to start a fire. Very explosive, bad day. Go and learn how to burn off your fields and make it easier to disc them up and put some nutrients back into the soil while you're at it.
Guys, and if you do this, make sure you know what you're doing, or you have someone that does know what you're doing, because this can get out of hand real easy, and you've got fire department, forestry department, and it's not going to be a good day. So know what you're doing before you do it.
Yeah, way more attention than you want.
Yeah.
In one day. So, and I will caveat it with, I have been through burn manager school and implemented some prescribed fires, and always had water and tools and equipment on site to make it safe and to make it go smooth.
So next step, disc her up, plant some seed, and see what happens.
Yeah.
Fire.
Okay, this is the winter peas right there. That's your wheat. Now we're going to mix it all up. Make for a great food plot.
Yes. You can keep it simple. You don't have to do anything fancy. We've put in some red clover and some white clover. David and Callum's getting ready to add some turnips and rape to the mix.
We'll have a hot food plot.
A hot food plot. Let's see your rape and turnips there, David. This is just stuff we've bought at the co-op. You can buy it by the pound or by the bag. It's very tiny seed.
Oops.
Yeah. So that will go into our small grain hopper down here with the clovers.
See it now?
There we go. Where we've already put our white and red clover in here. We're just going to add that to the mix. And it just gives them a little bit of variety when they're out there browsing through the food plot. You don't have to use a
Smoking hot food plot. God, couldn't get it out.
you don't have to use a grain drill or a planter. You can use a cyclone spreader. You can do it by hand. Just any way that makes it easy or whatever you've got. So keep it simple is the best thing to do.
Seeds going in the ground for a smoking hot food plot.
Stays the same.